What's going on, guys? Here at 11, a great day today, and today we are back to talk about some more Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witch from Mercury. This is episode number 22, titled The Woven Path. Before I get into my thoughts though, I want to hear from you guys, so head on down to the comment section below and let me know what you thought of this episode if you've seen it, and while you're there I'd really appreciate if you could leave a like on this video and subscribe if you want to see plenty more Gundam videos in the future. The League send multiple fleets against Quiet Zero, but all of their attacks are used against them. With the ongoing struggle against Prospera, Guel attempts to talk to Miorine, but she's locked herself inside a room, wallowing in despair. Back at the school, Earthhouse prepare for their trip, and Suletta has a heart-to-heart with Elan before going to Miorine. Guel tells her that the only way he'll let Suletta see her is if she agrees to and wins a duel. The two fence each other, and Suletta wins, regaining her title as holder and Miorine's groom. Suletta tells Miorine that she's going to Quiet Zero to try and reason with her mum, and in this moment the two finally have a proper talk with each other. Miorine also finds the motivation to leave her room and face the problem she's been blaming herself for. Before Suletta begins her test in the calibarn, Miorine visits her father, who has finally woken up. In order to not fall victim to Quiet Zero's control, Suletta has to clear permit score 5 in the calibarn, which she succeeds in doing. The mission is a go as the calibarn breaks through Quiet Zero's barrier, coming up against a swarm of gun nodes. The schwarzette arrives at the scene, who Guel discovers is piloted by a lauda, and the episode ends with Suletta coming face to face with Eri and Ariel. So much like the previous episode, episode number 21, episode 22 is once again build up to that final battle, and we're getting some of these kind of character moments before going heavy on the action. Like I said, we do get a bit of a conversation between Suletta and Elan, which is really good to see because Elan, especially this version, Elan 5, has really grown a lot throughout this series from when we were first introduced to him back in, I think it was like episode 7 or 8, and he just came across as this real douchey guy that was very, very unlikable to what he is now. And I think he has really gone through a great arc. And then probably the most important character moment in this episode is the conversation between Suletta and Miorine. And one of the things that I adored about that conversation, which I only noticed on my rewatch of it, was that there was a piano cover of the second OP slash which was being used in this second core, and I thought it was a really nice touch. The conversation itself was really heartfelt and very much needed because these two characters haven't really had a chance to properly connect with each other since the events of Planketta and kind of what came right before that, where they did kind of embrace each other. So to finally see that 11 episodes later they've both really come to terms with one another and their relationship was extremely satisfying to see as an audience member. Witch from Mercury is definitely not shied away from its major source of inspiration, which is Revolutionary Girl Utena, and I feel like this episode probably has the most blatantly obvious reference to that series, and it comes in the duel between Guel and Suletta, which is literally exactly what a duel is within Revolutionary Girl Utena. Particularly in that series, when you do see characters like training within their duels, they are doing fencing, and that was exactly what this was. It's definitely the most in-your-face reference to that series so far, but I didn't even mind it. There's something very important about that duel though, and it's the fact that Suletta wins it entirely by herself. She doesn't have the support of her mother, she doesn't have the words of her mother, she doesn't have the support of Ariel. It's just Suletta. She won that duel fair and square by herself. Which brings me on to another scene in this episode where she's testing out the calibarn and has to get to permit score 5 in order to bypass Quiet Zero. And once again, like with the duel, she has no assistance from anyone else. She doesn't have that protection of what Eri can do with Ariel and the data storm and how she's able to control that and protect Suletta from it. She doesn't have any of that. This is Suletta completely on her own doing all this stuff. And that's the arc that Suletta's really gone through since she was ditched by her mum and Ariel, where she's had to kind of learn to be able to fend for herself. And because of this arc that she's gone through over the past few episodes, it makes the moment where she flies in the calibarn all the more satisfying. Let's talk about that moment though. What an amazing entrance. I adore the music used in that scene. There's so much amazing music used in this episode, even with the conversation between Suletta and Elan using like a slowed down version of the main Witch from Mercury theme. And then when it comes to the calibarn arriving, it's a more heroic version of that theme. Whereas whenever you've seen that theme used with Ariel, it's kind of had a bit more of a dark and intense feeling to it, even when Ariel was seen as a good Gundam. There's some fantastic juxtaposition with the calibarn, where it's described as a monster and something that should be feared, something that is essentially an evil Gundam, and then when you actually see it, it's almost entirely white, which is a very pure colour, and then when it arrives, it arrives to this heroic theme. It almost feels like an angel coming down from heaven to save everyone. And after watching this episode, I did find out what the Caliban is based on. It's based on the character of Caliban in The Tempest, William Shakespeare play, which this series has taken a lot from in terms of Prospero's storyline, and also in terms of the names. Prospero, Ariel, and then Caliban. And the way Caliban is set up in that story is that he has the appearance of a monster, but is actually more of a heroic character. But overall, this is another excellent episode that feels like the last real character-focused episode going into the final battle, and we get some really great payoff, emotional payoff concerning certain characters' arcs, especially with Suletta learning to become her own person, and then eventually getting that really great payoff of piloting the Caliban into battle and being a source of hope for everyone. Only 2 episodes left, and as we go into this final battle, I really hope that it delivers, but looking at the last 5 minutes of this episode, I have the utmost amount of faith. Before I do get out of here though, I'd really appreciate if you could leave a like on this video and subscribe if you're a fan of anime and Japanese gaming content. If you want to see plenty more Witch from Mercury videos in the future, keep an eye out because I'll have my episode 23 review coming up very soon, and then we will talk about the finale when that airs. And yeah, Witch from Mercury I guess is coming to an end, but that won't be the end of it, because there's plenty we'll probably have to talk about, plenty of videos that can be made, and who knows, we might even get a sequel series. Above all else though, I want to hear from you guys, so head on down to the comment section below and let me know what you thought of this episode if you've seen it, what was your favourite moment within it, and what did you think of Caliban's entrance. As always, thank you so much for tuning into mchat today, and I'll see you all in the next video.